what is Zionism? I'm looking at Wikipedia. So Zionism is a nationalist movement that espouses the establishment of and support for a homeland for the Jewish people, centered in an area roughly corresponding to the land of Israel.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the Wikipedia definition. I'm sure a lot of people argued a lot until they came to this. It'd be interesting to go through the history of this page.
I can't stand Wikipedia. I find there is so much mistruth on Wikipedia.
Yeah, we've known it for a long time that all these websites are lying. I mean, I knew as soon someone told me about Snopes, and I went and looked there, and that's my litmus test for everything. What do they say about something that I know, that I really know, my country, something that happened that I know quite a lot about? Let's see what they say. And I go and I see that they are using Al Jazeera as an authoritative source. That tells me everything. This is not a serious site. This is something.
Al Qaeda, as I always say.
Yeah, we call them Al Qaeda. Al Jazeera.
In our channel lingo.
So, for people who don't know, Al Jazeera is like a propaganda channel for the Muslim Brotherhood, and the Muslim Brotherhood basically wants to establish a world caliphate. That's what it's about. It's a revolutionary movement that will use any means. It prefers to use diplomatic means, but it will use any means.
And they're very smart about it. Their armed factions are terror cells. They don't have direct connections. They use a tiny bit more radical than them as useful idiots for their own goal without ever talking with them and so on. They're very smart.
Yeah, they're not stupid. Not stupid at all.
They're, if you saw Batman Begins, like the League of Shadows, quote unquote, if you want to be more funny with that.
But I mean, don't you think a lot of people would say that about Jewish people? That they would say it's the League of Shadows.
It's projection. When they are, there is the law that every single thing a hard Muslim or a far leftist blames you, it's a thing that he did
himself,
is doing or will do if he had the power. Yeah, like. And so on and so on.
I mean, if you actually look at what Judaism is about, it's a particularist religion. It's an ethno-religion.
Yeah, it's a very minor streak of universalism, but for basic core morality, and that's it. Not much.
Yes, where Christianity is more universalist, right?
Yeah.
It's not about ethnos. Anybody can be Christian.
Yeah.
Right. Anybody is welcome to be Christian, in fact.
No,
right?
That's Judaism as well. The things that if you're the hard clerics will aspire that theoretically, after a few generations, the entire world will be like that. That's the difference.
Who are we talking about? The Christians?
Yeah, Christian clerics. They would aspire that all Earth will be like that.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But with Islam, it's even stronger, that idea of universalism. They really, really want the whole world to be Muslim.
So just to clear, can I just?
It's more an evangelical kind of approach where they send missionaries and stuff like this. The Muslims, it's that, but plus more, right?
Yeah. Can I just clear something up? So you guys are not saying that only a specific ethnicity can be Jewish. You're just saying that you're not trying to make everybody Jewish.
Exactly. Yeah, you could become Jewish. You could convert and become Jewish.
Yeah.
We're not preventing you, but we're not promoting that either. There's no missionaries or...
I don't think I'm cleric, but I think that if theoretically, by pure realm of hypothesis, if the entire Earth at once will want to convert, I don't think before the Messiah it will be allowed to happen, the entire Earth at once, because there is need of a placiraturality to a level. Maybe after the Messiah. I'm no theologian.
You're no prophet.
Yeah.
So
I mean, can I just ask Silver for him, what does he think Zionism means?
Jewish nationalism in the land of Israel.
Okay.
Everything else is Zionism X with a modifier, if you want to be more specific.
Okay. So
we've got the Socialist Zionist Party, the Zionist Workers Party, the Likud, which is like the conservative.
Yeah, but they are more populist, even historically.
Yeah, more populist. Yeah, correct. But just to put it in perspective, we've got hardcore Zionists, which are kind of far right. You got religious Zionists, you got non-religious. It's all over.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's not only. Yeah, it's a bit misleading because it's not only I'm a Zionist, but I want my state to be leftist, or I'm a Zionist, I want my state to be conservative. For the very core of the Zionism, there is even differences as a secular Zionism, religious Zionism. There was, it kind of flopped, quote unquote, but in the 20s they were, and so on and so on. But I think I told most.
Yeah, there was even a universalist Zionism. That's what he was trying to say, but he completely flopped in. Yeah.
It kind of ended in the 1920s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reality met ideology, and reality won.
And I'm really intrigued as to what you guys think, and also if you could say, from what you know of, what other Israelis think of. We have obviously quite a lot of very wealthy Jews in various Western countries that are investing a lot of money into altering society. So I'm sure you guys have heard of people like George Soros. Everybody obviously knows Evelinda Rothschild, the Queen's best friend. What do you guys think of people like that? Because surely that just tars your name.
I do not know about that specific Rothschild. There is something like a dozen of them. Soros? Yeah, I can't stand him. Look, I know that some people, unironically, there is a minority or actual non-smear anti-Semites who party with his character. But when we speak concretely right now, we dislike him. He's basically open society. I don't know, some radical capitalist, open border capitalist, neo-Marxist. I can't even know.
It's strange, isn't he?
He invests a lot of money in Israel as well. So he's.
Oh, does he?
Israel is the famously of the NGOs.
Yeah, famously, Netanyahu's son put on Twitter that Soros is #1 enemy of Israel.
Wow.
None of that gets to the West, by the way. It's
interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's
little. If you look for it, you will find it, but it's not. Doesn't get the attention it should.
Yeah. Anyway, if you speak as an Israeli Zionist with right wing, forget right wing. Let's speak just Zionism. He's not a Zionist. He's basically open society. That's goes to Israel as well. For all he care, Israel should become an Israeli Stein, identityless human right run by woke judges.
Diversity, yeah.
Yeah, the Die religion, diversity, inclusion, and so on.
Okay, that's interesting. That's really interesting.
What, you saw George Soros do some mock-up as a soldier from 48 in some of his videos? You see him go to initiation of some house in some settlements in Judea and Samaria. He doesn't care.
He was a Nazi collaborator, wasn't he?
Yeah, in the Second World War.
Because he's from Hungary, I think, isn't he? Originally, he's from Hungary.
He helped the Nazis confiscate Jewish property.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, watches. I remember he used to go and take watches.
He's on record saying it, and he's on record saying he has no regrets.
Gee whiz.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, this is unforgivable in Israel. Look, if it was only property and not people, I'm not in a position to judge, but you should be shut up about it and never say it in publicly ever again. if you collaborated with Nazis even without property and just property, you do not say it out loud and forget about say it was happy for you. It's unforgivable in Israel.
Yeah, absolutely. And how, I don't know how to phrase this question. Obviously, there are an awful lot of Jews in America.
Yes.
Do you think that, in the most part, they are damaging your cause?
Currently in 2022, to a degree, more harm than good. They became, they were always post-60s center leftist, but ever since 2012, more or less, they became wokified in alarming speed. It was a complete deterioration of the merit of their ideologies and activism and so on. More or less since 2012.
I think it's a phenomenon on the American left, and sadly it's starting on the right as well, where they hate their own country, and by extension they hate its allies. So
yeah, they really do.
Of course, the enemy is watching and smiling and just waiting.
Yeah. And we hear from the left that the enemy is Russia. We hear from the right that the enemy is China. Who do you think the enemy of the West is?
If I would say my guess, I think Mossad will agree with me. If you speak on a worldwide level, not the direct enemies of Israel, I would say first place China, second place Iran and the Muslim Brotherhood branch of radical Sunnis as basically the variants of the extreme Islam is second, and third maybe Russia. Who knows? They appear to be exposed as only regional power after the current conflict in Ukraine, so they by default became far more down unless they will march to another countries immediately. They were exposed as less war even people thought.
There are lots of other enemies of the West, but they are not powerful.
Yeah, I say China and then Muslim Brotherhood and Iran and maybe a third Russia, maybe.
You can see the enemies of the West in how they vote in the UN as well. You look at the voting pattern. So when they can apply some power, like in the UN vote, they do.
Okay.
And with all sorts of organizations like that, where they have a disproportionate power. That I'm talking about, say, African countries, South American countries. And,
yeah. And just talk to me about the American. Well, that's a Freudian slip. The Muslim Brotherhood. So tell to people that have no idea, someone's just turned on the channel and they're like, "What is this Muslim Brotherhood?"
Yeah.
Do you want to, Silva, or should I? Should I start?
I will say it very quickly. Look, I'm not an Orientalist expert and so on, so if I had a very minor mistake, people in your audience will be happy to fix me, I will bet. Anyway, the Muslim Brotherhood was founded in Egypt in the 1910s or 20s, if I remember correctly. It was basically started by a young cleric who the entire Muslim world before him was very, very humiliated by the utter, complete stomp success of European colonialism. They said how this kuffar from the Din Batel religion, as the voided religion, as they believe on Christianity and Judaism, Christianity is the relevant party here. How did they want us? And they basically came into some sort of a rethinking of their situation, maybe a bit similar to the right right now. We say how we gone this far, this bad. We are meant to all over the world, and we were completely stomped by the Christians. And he basically said the problem is that we are not religious enough. We became influenced by modernism. People became more secularized, more modernized by the culture of their colonizers in many Muslim countries.
Yeah. Look out for suits. When you see people wearing suits, these are the ones who have been converted into Western
mindset, mentality,
mindset,
and so on. Yeah, so I will go on. I will go on. So they say we need to go back to Islam because few centuries before the colonialism became a bit more relaxed, and I'm not talking about they became moderate, as some Sam Harris fanboy would hope for. They became more tribal, as less the pure Islamic law and more clan mentality and clan ancient costumes and so on, even when it contradicts Islam, and became more fragmented and so on. So they were more tribal and less pure Islamic.
Okay.
So he said that the solution is to kick all the colonizer out, to kick all their influences from the population, then establish a righteous caliphate, and then march on the rest of the world and bring some sort of a world Islamic conquest, and then utopia or the Mahdi. I do not know this far what they will believe will happen if they will win.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is to a level they want to revitalize the Islamic conquest at the start of Islam. But here's the thing: they are not classical terrorists as Al Qaeda or ISIS and so on. By the way, most of the Al Qaeda and ISIS are people who came originally for them and became impatient. So I will just say what their tactic is. They basically want to slowly but surely to subvert the societies from the inside by peer pressure, by immigration, slowly dawah to convert like Muhammad Hijab and so on, by conversion, infiltration, lobbying, and so on. And then they have the power. This is basically two-stage revolution. Once they have the critical amount of power, they will become violent. This is basically two-stage revolution. At the first, they are subverters. At the second, they are Al-Qaeda. This is how they behave. And many leftists immediately become friends with them for many reasons. First of all, the more smart leftists basically knows who they are. They know who they are dealing with. Many classical communist style of people, as tankies, as the inner left call them. They say, yeah, we know who they are. They are our enemies to kill the West, and later we'll fight the rest out. But many of the leftists, even first of all, the wokesters in their religious cult algorithm, they must immediately believe the Muslims. So they are not even they are immediately for them anyway.
Yeah.
They do not even need convincing. But even regular liberals, quote unquote, as 28 Barack Obama or Sam Harris and so on, sometimes people of this caliber fell for their shenanigans because they could give the optic as very friendly for leftists. Why? For example, they are anti-nationalist because they believe historical nationalism is Western degeneracy. When I'm speaking about the colonialism in the 1920s, they believe nationalism is Western degeneracy. They say you need to have a multi-ethnic religious empire, worldwide multi-ethnic religious empire. So nationalism is degeneracy, so they are anti-nationalist from the radical Islam angle, so they can go to anti-nationalist leftists. They are pro-charity because they want to go all to the beggars and give them charity and radicalize them. Like this is a classical Muslim Brotherhood tactic, like orphan children in the street in Egypt and so on. They set up orphanage dining rooms, but the entire point is come a very radical cleric to radicalize them while eating. So they are very pro-welfare because they want to either disappear many money to their terrorist cells, or to just give charity while radicalizing at the same time. So they're pro-welfare. They're anti-nationalist. You understood my point there. They can sell very, very easily to even non-woke center-leftists. They can fool them very, very easily. But Barack Obama was basically... here's the big kicker. they're also pro-democracy, because they say all these kingdoms in the Arab world, this is just degeneracy. Who allowed you to be the king of Morocco if you are not fighting for, if you are not completely pure Islam and you have some moderation from time to time, or a bit of tribal laws mixed with Islamic law? Who are you to call yourself a king? Only Allah is king, and so on. So they have this is a bit similar to Iranian revolutionarism attitude. So they basically they completely open to be we are anti-kings. We are, imagine you are an American center leftist, come to you a Muslim. I'm anti-kings, I'm pro-democracy, I'm either anti-nationalist or ultra-moderate vanilla nationalist, I'm pro-welfare. You understand how they know on what instruments to play on. So
Yeah.
maybe Mossad will continue me a bit, because...
I think he's going to come. I think he's just gone to get a drink. So which countries would you say have been already taken over or have very strong sects of the Muslim Brotherhood inside them?
Qatar is basically a complete state that is Muslim Brotherhood. It's basically the state ideology. They are ultra pragmatic. If the state ideology is Muslim Brotherhood, they are pro-kings. If there is a king who gives them money and shelter, this is the ultra pragmatism and so on. So Qatar is basically Muslim Brotherhood country from the ground up. Qatar is an enemy of the Western America. Every single dime and every single cent spent in Qatar, this is basically America stab itself in the back, as well as Pakistan for that as well.
It's interesting as well, because obviously with the current Ukraine-Russian conflict, there is a lot of gas and oil involved in that. And obviously people are saying that they're going to have to finish the Qatar-Turkey pipeline.
Yeah,
Turkey is also very... yeah, go on.
Yeah, before Turkey, I was about to say another thing. People need to understand it with the Muslim Brotherhood attitude. This is a thing many Westerners, especially from the hard right, fail to understand, because they're ultra pragmatic and they're basically a hybrid of ultra radical and ultra pragmatic at the same time. So they don't have all this internet far right purity spirals. This is very common that you find cooperation between Muslim Brotherhood and Shiite radicalism, because they are true believers. They say, if we will cooperate with the Shiite, in the day of judgment there will be a miracle, and we will be the one who win somehow. So they don't really care. Also, they have some sort of the radical among radical respect. So appreciation for two radicals, even if they contradict. As he may be a Shiite, but at least he true to his word, quote unquote attitude. So you can see a lot of cooperation, short term or medium term, with the Shiites and Muslim Brotherhood type of operatives. For example, you will see Iran fight alongside the Houthis in Yemen to conquer Yemen right now in the very brutal Yemenite civil war. You will see all kind of Muslim Brotherhood media and operatives in Western parliaments hindering Saudi Arabia, because they say the Saudis are cucked. We prefer the radical Shia over the cucked Sunni. For example, Al Jazeera and the Muslim Brotherhood operatives like Ilan Omar and Linda Sarsour just try to sabotage the Saudi war in Yemen, just because, you understand me. Yeah, so many Western will not understand it. Also, Erdogan in Turkey have some sort of a pseudo-Muslim Brotherhood, pseudo-Ottoman hybrid of a semi-Ottoman, semi-Muslim Brotherhood. It's kind of hard to understand. Maybe he wants the Muslim Brotherhood to win, but Turkey to lead it as a hybrid of Islamic conquest plus Turkish nationalism at the same time. He basically gives a lot of money and funding and public support for the Muslim Brotherhood style of people.
They had a nice empire going, and the Christians disturbed it.
Yeah, they did. They had a really nice empire. Okay, so how did China act towards Muslim Brotherhood countries?
Muslim Brotherhood do not rule on many countries. They tried to conquer most of the Middle East in the Arab Spring, but they almost did not succeed in any way long term.
Mm-hmm.
They took over Egypt short term, but
there was a counter-revolution by the conservative, moderate military dictatorship.
Mm-hmm.
Even the place where the Muslim Arab Spring started in Tunisia, there were soft, bloodless coup against the Muslim Brotherhood democratically elected president half a year ago, and they put another moderate conservative military dictator.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Hamas is Muslim Brotherhood, so
yeah, but
Hamas
they turn violent. They're in the second stage.
Yeah,
because they can't convince us because we are not Muslim and so on. They did not have what to play on the first stage so much.
And they know how to even fool the Israelis. They're very good.
Really?
Yeah. So Israel is one of the only countries in I think maybe the only country in the Middle East that allows them to operate in the first place.
Because woke judges who say it's undemocratic to block them.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No. So they are now in the coalition government. We have Muslim Brotherhood.
They did shenanigans. They did in Israel shenanigans by woke judges. The woke judge says no, only the North Israel branch of the Muslim Brotherhood is truly radical. The South branch is fine. So total woke lunacy, legalistic nonsense.
So they are in the cabinet and they get to sit on, defense issues, state secrets.
No, I don't think that's true. I think they were barred from that in this coalition.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But still, they are part of the government now.
Yeah,
the world wanted Netanyahu gone.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I see it as I don't believe in conspiracies. I'm not saying a conspiracy, but there's definitely a sentiment in the West which is anti-nationalist. They don't like nationalists. Even Boris Johnson, your prime minister, is considered too nationalist. I mean, he's as soft as they come. Yeah, I mean, they didn't want him, right? They didn't like him.
No, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, they would have loved someone like Miliband or someone like that, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Or the guy at the head Labour, the head of
Corbyn.
What's his name? No, not that. They didn't like him either, but they like the new one. Generally, the media they seem to.
Oh, Starmer.
Starmer, that's it. Yes. He's more. He's more the kind of
he'd be very friendly to the Muslim Brotherhood.
I mean, he's easily fooled by the tactics.
Muslim Brotherhood will be in the most West will be going to woke frenzy nonsense because there is literally in the woke algorithm to believe all Muslims. So this is where they will be. All this, for example, there is the guy who runs Al Jazeera, the brown guy with the short hair. Hamzat Yusuf, I think. I don't think if you know him.
I don't.
I think he lives in. I think he have British citizenship, and he have a lot of videos in the Oxford debate club when he represents the Arab world.
Oh, okay. I have not heard of him. Hamza Yusuf.
Winston stopped writing, partly because he was suffering from cramp. He did not know what had made him pour out this stream of rubbish